Hello, everyone. My name is Hassan, and thank you, Desmond and Rick, for nice introduction about coroutines. I think it's like still like many people are still trying to implement in their apps because lots of apps were written in RX Java, and slowly people are trying to migrate to coroutines. So every time I hear about coroutines, it's always exciting. Uh, and today, what I'm going to discuss is something which can be used with coroutines also. It's called WorkManager, and it's part of the MAD skills series on Android, which is the modern Android development skills series. So before starting this call, let me introduce a bit about myself. My name is Hassan. Currently, I'm kind of CTO, tech lead slash uh, leader of our team based out of Singapore in Vietnam. And primarily, I code in Android, but also go to other verticals. And I do lots of talking. Like since last year, we have been doing this online. And looking for like this year, I hope that there will be more offline events. Okay, so this talk actually is just introduction to WorkManager because WorkManager is very new. It was introduced maybe a couple of years ago, but only recently maybe people started using it, and it's still I will say in kind of rapid development. But if you can think of any feature, you can go and request to Google, and then folks at Google will can implement this for you. And then today I'll just give you introduction about WorkManager and kind of migration guide from the previous library to WorkManager, and also later we will have a quiz. So the quiz will be based on these slides. So I think it's good to just read the slides, even if you don't want to, like, you miss out some of my talk. So what is WorkManager? WorkManager is essentially an API that makes it easy to schedule deliverable and asynchronous tasks. And the key difference here is that those tasks are expected to run for a long time, and also they are not very important for your UI. For example, I'll just give you one example. For example, you are fetching some something from network and you want to show it in UI. So WorkManager is not suitable for something which should be done immediately. It's more suitable for some kind of task. For example, you want to download bulk images, background, or you want to upload bulk images in background, or you want to run your ML models, or do long running tasks. But at the same time, um, if the long running task somehow stop because of device shutdown, then the good thing is like when device turns back on, right? Then this WorkManager task will kind of continue again and try to finish it for you. In the first version was introduced during Google I/O 2018. So what are some of the key features of this work manager? Uh, it persists schedule works. Just now I explained to you, and then you can also schedule one-off or periodic tasks. And at the same time, you can monitor and manage tasks. If you think it's like there's a duplicate task, or you think this task is no more needed, then you can even cancel those tasks. And at the same time, you can chain those tasks together. So we'll also look into some of the deprecated libraries. So here, let's spend some time here to go through what are the libraries which are deprecated already. Firebase Job Dispatcher and GCM Network Manager, those are already deprecated, and it's highly recommended to move to WorkManager, because starting from target API level 29 and above, these libraries won't be able, you won't be able to use them on devices running Marshmallow and above. So how are we going to do this? So today I'm just going to basically show you how to migrate from Job Dispatcher to WorkManager. At the same time, this will also give you an overview of how you can use WorkManager in your apps. So first of all, we need to add dependencies. As of now, the most stable version of WorkManager is 2.5.0, but also 2.6.0 alpha is out, which has some newer features. And you can also get RX Java or coroutines version. So this is like very exciting for people who are using coroutines or RX Java. It works seamlessly with both. And it also has testing library available. So before in Job Dispatcher, right, we have this job service. So job service is something which is kind of, it's not running on the background thread, it's on the main thread. And what we can do is we can change it to listenable worker. So this is an example of job service used in Job Dispatcher. Here you have on start job. If you get this callback, then you will start your long running job here. And on stop job is called when it's due to some reasons the job is stopped or you cancel the job. And this can be replaced with WorkManager's listenable worker. So they are equivalent to each other. And then we have another class used to have this simple job service, which is running on a background service. And this maps to a worker class. So this is a worker class. And here you can see you can use your own My Worker class, and then you can initiate your long running task in the do work callback. There's also a on stopped callback, which is usually when the constraints are not met. Let's say you have a constraint that the Wi-Fi should be there, Wi-Fi is not there, then you will get this callback, or you will also get this callback when you cancel by yourself. And then we used to have this job builder in Firebase dispatcher class. Then it maps to WorkRequest. So usually what does this job builder do is basically you set a tag, which is a unique tag through which you can find this job. Then you set either one-off job or recurring. Then you also set some kind of lifetime and the trigger, how you trigger this. And you also can have some kind of retry strategy. And also you can set some kind of constraints. But now with WorkManager, you have this class called WorkRequest. And with WorkRequest, actually, you can build input data, which can be used as input for the worker. Then you can build a work request with this input data and also some constraints. These constraints are something like device should be using Wi-Fi or device should be charging. So these are all like interesting kind of APIs out there. And then you can enqueue or start the work request. So this is just one example. You can see that I defined my work request data. So here, this is the example of actually Firebase Job Dispatcher, but with this also example, this example of worker. So here you can see I can set some constraints. So here my constraint is that network should be connected and device should be charging. If device is not charging, then constraints are not met. and this long-running task will not execute. And here a bit of more constraints because we have one time or periodic. So for one time, it will just run one time, but you can kind of give it initial delay, like after how many seconds you want to start this. But WorkManager will actually try its best to run, but it cannot guarantee you that it will run at specific time. And you can set all these constraints and all other conditions here. Yeah, this is for the periodic case. For periodic case, basically, you have one off, right? So you can basically run it periodically. And then after that, you have to schedule your work. So in previous library, we used to do this method. So here is similar to kind of set recurring or one time. But in our work request, we also have one-time request or periodic request. So here in this example, I'm showing you one-time request. Then we will also have a unique tag for it. So you can see my unique name. And then we will have some policy, and then we will attach requests to it. And then this will actually start our work long-running task. And then if you want to cancel your work, this is also possible with the Firebase job dispatcher. There was this method called cancel. And similarly, with WorkManager, you can also cancel your unique work. You need to kind of keep track of your tag which you set when you are filing this WorkManager. Okay, so there's also another useful guide about migrating GCMNetworkManager to WorkManager. You can go to this link I have given here. And then you can, it will be pretty much similar to the Firebase job dispatcher to WorkManager. Okay, so yeah, so this guide looks pretty much similar to what I've shown. So you can go through there if you are using it. Then it's a good idea to start migrating now. Okay, so just to summarize this WorkManager, what are the steps you need to do? Basically, you need to add dependencies in your Gradle file. Then you need to define the work. Then you had to create the work request. So work request will have some constraints and kind of one-time or periodic requests. Then you can configure any one of them. Then you submit your work request to the system. You kind of incubate, and then system will try its best to run your long-running task. But it cannot guarantee that it will run in the specified time. It all depends on Android OS, your conditions, and the whole idea here is to conserve your battery. That's why it will kind of intelligently schedule your job to make sure your battery is always, always conserved, and you're not giving bad experience to users of your app. Then there's cancellation if you want to explicitly cancel it. And then there's a guide about testing. So you can also go and test your WorkManager. So these are the basic steps you need to do. And just to elaborate, like how does it work under the hood is based on your device API level. It will determine what to use. So if it's API level 23 and above, it will use job scheduler under hood. And if it's API level 14 to 22, then it will see if Google Play services are available on device. If not, then it will switch between both of them. And also one thing to note here is that your alarm manager can be a replacement for devices which doesn't support Google Play services for API level 14 and 22. But key thing to note here is WorkManager and Alarm Manager works a little bit differently. Alarm Manager is usually when you want to start some kind of job or some kind of work at its exact time. It will, let's say you want to schedule something for 9 p.m., then it will wake up the device and then your job will start. But WorkManager, you have to set like 1 hour kind of window. Then it will try to do this long running task in its best effort, but it cannot guarantee you that it will run at 9 or 9:10 p.m. It all depends on the conditions you set. Okay, so this is more like advanced WorkManager setup. So you can do your own demand initialization, more like lazy initialization. And you can do your own configuration. Basically, it's also being done for setting up the logs when you're debugging something. And there's also support for long running workers, which requires 10 plus minutes to run, which is very cool. And one more thing to highlight here is like coroutines usually are suitable for short running tasks, but WorkManager is more suitable for long running tasks. So WorkManager is not replacing coroutines. It's just they have different purposes. So earlier you saw talk about coroutines, right? So just don't think like WorkManager can totally go and replace coroutines. No, they serve different purposes. If you think like your job or your task is small, like fetching some data from network or kind of running something in background, then just use coroutines. But if you have a long running task like bulk data upload, bulk data download, running some ML models or doing some heavy filtering and stuff, then WorkManager is more suitable. And you can also go to this link here to debug it before you roll out to production. And actually debugging is pretty cool. Then you can use the ADB tools to basically like kind of see your scheduled WorkManager tasks. And you can also kind of find out issues and stuff. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so I think I'm pretty much done with my talk. And then we will have a quiz shortly, but I'm okay to take any questions before. I'm not sure we are going to take questions first or quiz, but let me get Desmond in. Yeah, WorkManager is pretty new. Actually, I'm not sure if anyone is using. Actually, we are thinking to use it in our app. So actually, we have this problem, right? I can explain to you. So we have to upload kind of this big file after every live stream in our applications. And this can go up to 10 MB plus. So we were trying to use coroutines first, actually, but coroutines sometimes can cancel your task if your activity is destroyed or your application is destroyed. So coroutine cannot do kind of long running. So a good replacement is kind of WorkManager. Because this file we are uploading, right, it can get bigger, and also what we want to do is like we don't care about kind of real-time upload or something. So I was just like exploring to use WorkManager, and it seems like very useful because of the device support up to API level 14 to all the way to the new APIs. So I think maybe later, if I have more findings, I can share to talk. But it's very new. As of I know, not many people are using WorkManager. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I'm curious for one. Like I think Android
Yeah.
has a bit notorious on killing your apps process, right? So does it
Yeah.
survive the or like the all the
So
China
you saw
devices,
when
you
you
know?
set yeah. So when you set WorkManager, right, you have to set some constraints. So the constraint is, for example, your device is charging, connected to Wi-Fi, these kind of things. And let's say if your device is going low battery, okay. So now that is more priority than work manager task, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Android OS always take care of the whole system. So what it
Mm-hmm.
will do is it just defer your work manager task. So it will
Right.
kind of put it in, it will, persist it somewhere in the Android OS. So you don't need
Mm-hmm.
to worry much about it because it's all happening under the hood. When your device start charging again, then it will try to do that task for you. So that's why, I mean, most of the logic is now being handled by the OS, and that's why they're trying to make it more intelligent or something, so that we don't need to worry much about this. But obviously, if your battery is like in ultra low, like sometimes have this save battery kind of feature, like energy saver kind
Mm.
of thing. So definitely, I
Right.
think OS is more important there. No, I think it depends. It depends because for your, I mean, it's also possible you can use Work Manager. It just depends on how urgent this large video file is. Because for Work Manager, right, the idea is once you start this job, right, you don't need to force users to use your app. They can go and use some other app. Everything will happen in
Mm.
background. But for kind of messaging, right, basically you're communicating with each other. So then you are in foreground already. So it depends on file size and the urgency. But usually for live chat or something, right, you will prefer to use coroutines, not Work
Mm.
Manager.
Does starting a service here make sense?
Yeah, service is
Uh,
like very, very old concept, I think. So it's a bit different, yeah. But I think if you're coming from service background, right, I think you can try Work Manager. It can fit with your needs, but service
mm.
has some limitations also. I remember kind of your apps will be in foreground, and if there's like kind of thing you have to, if you're generating some notifications, right, your app needs to respond in within 5 seconds or so. So service
Uh,
is a bit different. I think this is modern Android development. So guys, go and read about Work Manager.